Welcome back to part 2 of Word Chapter 1. We are on page 33, and at the bottom we're going to center another paragraph. So we're going to click on the Home ribbon, and then we're going to click anywhere in the blank line below the headline. So right underneath Adventure, you'll have a backwards P or the show hide character. That means that that's a blank line right now, because I'm sure you still have your show hide characters on. And we're going to choose the center button from there. Remember, it's in the Home group, Paragraph, and Center. Then on page 34, we're going to insert a picture. So with your cursor still on the blank line below the word Adventure or your headline, you want to click on the Insert tab, and then from the Insert tab we want to choose from File. So we're going to choose Insert Pictures from File. And that's the very first of the illustrations section. Now from there we're going to navigate to wherever you've saved all the files for this class. And so that'll be in the Word Chapter 1 files. And the files that we need are Mountain Trail. And they are in alphabetical order. So Mountain Trail is what you want to choose. And then we're going to zoom in on the document. Now if you've done this right, it's centered below Adventure and above Explore Scenic Trails. At the bottom it says to zoom the document. Now we've done this a ton of times. So it says to click the zoom out or the zoom in buttons as many times as necessary until the zoom button on the status bar is at 80%. So what we're going to do is go down to the status bar, which is the bottom of your Word screen, and notice that in the bottom right hand side you have a zoom level, and you have a minus, which is the zoom out. The plus is the zoom in. So right now mine is at 100%, so I want to change it to 80%, so I'm going to click on zoom out. Once it turns it to 90%. The second time makes it 80%, and you can tell what it is because at the very right side of that status bar is the zoom level, and it shows 80%. So that's exactly where we want that to be. Now to resize the graphic, you want to make sure first that the graphic is still selected. You know it's selected if it has the sizing handles all around that picture, and notice we also have a turning handle, so that picture is definitely selected. We want to take our mouse and we're going to point to the lower left corner of that picture, and when you get to the bottom right hand corner your arrow changes to a double-sided arrow, and we want to drag it out to the lower left until the picture is about the size and it gives you, okay, it gives you an approximate, but I like exacts. Approximately, it's going to line up over the O, over Explorer. Now, I'm going to give you exacts. The next thing they have there is that it should have a height of 3.26. So, and honestly, if they're going to give me a number, I rarely ever just drag it out. It's much easier too. Since we have our picture selected, our Picture Tools tab is what is selected, and the Format tab in that Picture Tools section is selected. If you go to the very last section of that is the size group, you have height and width. If you just type 3.26 in the height, because the book says it should have a height of about 3.26. So, you know, that just makes life easier. Make the height 3.26. You can type it, then it is exactly right, and life is so much easier. Okay, now at the bottom of the page it tells us to zoom to 100%. So we're going to slide down to the bottom right hand corner of our status bar, and our zoom, this time we're going to click on the plus, which is the zoom in, once, twice, and now we are at 100%. Next, we're going to apply a picture style. So we're going to click on the picture tools format, which that should be what's showing for you right now, but if it's not, go ahead and click on it. And then we want to make sure that our graphic is still selected, so if your sizing handles are showing, it is. Click on the More button in the Picture Styles gallery. So our picture styles is kind of in the middle here. The More button is this down arrow where it has all the picture frames. So if you click on that, you'll see all the different styles that you can choose from. In this case, they want us to choose the drop shadow rectangle, which should be the fourth one in the first row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop shadow rectangle. Okay? Now, to apply the picture effects, with the picture still selected, we are still in the Picture Tools Format tab, Picture Styles group. We want to click on the Picture Effect button, which is in the middle of Picture Border and Picture Layout. If you click on that Picture Effects button, we want to choose the Glow. So we'll slide down to Glow, and then Glow opens up a new menu, and we have several different variations. In this case, we want to choose the turquoise 5-point accent color. That should be the rightmost in the first row, but we will double check. Turquoise 5-point glow accent 6. That sounds correct. We'll click on that, and now we have a nice turquoise glow around our picture. On page 40, it says to click on the Picture Effects button again. So we're still in the Picture Tools Format, Picture Style section. Click on the Picture Effects again. This time we're going to choose Bevel. And from the Bevel, we're going to choose Angle in the Bevel area, which should be the first effect on the second row. And so that's going to be the first effect in the second row in the Bevel section of the Bevel Picture Effects. And that looks very nice. Alright, then on page 41, we are going to add a page border. So we're going to click on the Design tab, and then we're going to click on the Borders and Shading button in the Page Background group, which is all the way over here to the right side in the Design tab. We want to choose Page Border. We want to choose the second style in the list. So make sure you're on Page Border and the second style in the list. Then we're going to choose the colors. So slide down to the color section, click on the down arrow, and we're going to choose Lime Accent 2, lighter 80%. So Lime Accent 2, and then slide down to 80%, and that would be the most faded one in there. Sixth color in the second row. Then we're going to click on the width arrow to display the width list, and we want 4.5 points. So click on the down arrow at the width, choose 4.5 points as your width, so we have a nice little dotted green arrow all the way around, border all the way around. Then we say OK, and that is applied to the entire document. Now we're going to zoom in on one page, and we should have this down. Go to View on your ribbons, go to the Zoom area, and choose one page. And now we can see that it is spread out just a little bit nicer than it was. And we're going to change the spacing before and after paragraphs so that things look a little bit nicer. So position the insertion point in the paragraph containing the headline, so click in the word adventure, and then we want to click on the page layout ribbon, and then from the page layout ribbon you can, in the paragraph section, you can see the spacing before and after. In this case we want to change the spacing after to 12. So where it says 8 points right now, you can click in there and type 12 and then click out. And so the spacing after the word adventure is a little bit wider now. And then we want to click in the signature line to book your adventure. And we want that to change the spacing above the paragraph to 12. So we're in the page layout, paragraph section, and before is going to be changed to 12. So you can click in there and type a 12 and hit enter, and now the space before is 12. If the text flows to 2 pages, then you can change the spacing above or below the paragraphs as necessary. But make sure you understand that this has to fit on 1 page. If it goes to 2 pages, then you lose points. This must be 1 page only. So make sure it's on 1 page only. Also make sure that you don't have a blank page. If you have a blank page after that, even though there's nothing on it, that counts as points off too. This can only have, in the bottom left hand corner of your status button, it should say page 1 of 1. That's all it should have. If it says page 1 of 2, then you need to get rid of that second page. Alright, by changing your spacing above and below your paragraphs. Alright, so now that I've said all that, we want to look at page 43 to center page contents vertically. So we've centered horizontally our adventure and our to book your adventure. Okay, those two were horizontal, the normal centering that we're used to using. Now we're going to center it vertically on the page. So from top to bottom you'll have the same amount of white space above at the top and below at the bottom. So it's centered vertically. So make sure that you're on the page layout ribbon, and then you want to click on the page setup box, and you want to click on the page setup. It's a small in the bottom right hand corner, little bitty square of the page setup box that you click on, and that gives you the old menus, and from there we will be able to choose to center it vertically. So with the page setup menu selected, we're going to click on Layout tab, and then you want to go down to the page vertical alignment, and right now it says top. Click on the down arrow and choose center, then choose OK, and the whole thing is centered vertically, the same amount of space above as below your document. And then we want to click on the Save button on the Quick Access toolbar. Remember, that's the second icon. Or you can hit Control S. And then we are done. So now that we've saved on page 46, it has us closing the closing it on the right hand side. So you slide up to the X in the top right hand corner of your screen, and we have now closed that. And that is the end of our lecture so far. See you in a second.